everyone, I'm Hugo.
You look down at that like you had to check your name?
Yeah, you know.
I'm Jake.
And this is Ask Hugo, whatever number it is. We've been doing this for quite a while.
Have we stopped numbering them altogether?
I did. I checked today. I was like, did I even number the last one? I didn't.
No.
We've given up.
Yeah, it's over. Yep.
Unless you want to send us an abacus. Today
we could just have Hugo abacus right here.
Okay.
We could just tick one. That'd be fun.
It could be made of.
What if all the balls had your face on it?
I was gonna say they're all teeth.
If someone wants to send us a tooth abacus,
it
will be used. So, Toothbacus?
Toothbacus.
I like that.
Anyway, today we're here to answer more of your questions. Some of these are from our Discord. Link is in the description. The others are from Twitter. At Ask Hugo if you want to ask me questions or talk to me. Let's go.
I thought it was Hugo Reloaded.
Oh, it is Hugo Reloaded. Ask Hugo is just my name on there. At Hugo Reloaded.
Taco222 says, Dear H and J, have you followed the Theranos and Elizabeth Holmes debacle? What are your thoughts / comments? There's a new HBO documentary about it that's pretty interesting. The whole thing seems to sync up with a lot of Hugo's rants about Elon Musk and even Silicon Valley in general. It seems like it was all built-up hype in marketing and branding Holmes as a wunderkind and a successor to Steve Jobs. None of the investors, which include a lot of high-profile people like James Mattis, Henry Kissinger, Rupert Murdoch, and Betsy DeVos, seem to have a single iota of knowledge about biomedical science. These accomplished and ostensibly smart people invested in the, quote, vision, without bothering to critically examine the premise and actually look under the hood and see if there was any fucking evidence or data indicating that the technology works. That got a little ranty. I guess Tesla is to Hugo as Theranos is to me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's a comparison that Jake has talked to me about before, and I absolutely agree.
Yep.
I did watch that documentary on HBO. I think it's called Bad Blood or something like that. Something along those lines. You can check it out.
She's got
HBO.
Haunting eyes. Haunting.
But I did want to talk about this because recently, last week, Elon Musk did their Tesla investor autonomous driving event.
Oh boy.
This was an event in which they were going to unveil some new information about their self-driving car program. Now, for those of you who don't follow Tesla or myself when I talk about Tesla, the past year or so for Tesla has been fucking crazy. It kind of started off with Elon. Remember back when those Thai cave kids were caught?
And he was like really butthurt that he wasn't the one to save them?
Yeah, he essentially, as a marketing gimmick, was like, I'm gonna invent a submarine like I'm Tony goddamn Stark, and save these kids. It was a ridiculous concept that never would have worked, and some other people saved the kids. Afterwards, one of the people who saved the kids said as much and said Elon Musk was just using this as a PR opportunity, and Elon Musk called that gentleman a pedophile.
Because he rescued the kids.
Yeah. Now, that might just be one offhand comment, but then Elon Musk doubled down on it later, and he is now being sued for libel.
Well, you know, you probably shouldn't do that.
So that got me interested, like, because before that, like most people I assume who have just a passing knowledge of pop culture, Elon Musk probably thought, why would Elon Musk do that? I assumed at that point, like, I bought into the hype. I was like, oh, he's this engineer guy. He does the electric car things. He does the SpaceX.
SpaceX, by the way, is still cool.
Yeah, but
not a lot to do with Elon. But
then I started looking into it and looking into Elon Musk as an individual, and I realized Elon Musk isn't an engineer at all. He doesn't have an engineering degree. He's just the CEO who's built this hype image around himself.
I'm sure Hugo intends this to tie into Theranos soon.
It will. Now, after that, months later, he had this funding secured debacle on Twitter in which he said, I'm going to buy Tesla out and take it private at $420 a share. Now, for those of you who don't understand what that means, the company is a public company. It's traded on, like, the New York Stock Exchange, stuff like that, and anyone can buy shares in the company. It was trading at around $3.40, I think, around the time per share. So this
Which is a good, that's not, not nothing. It's not, like, the best of course, but it's not nothing.
They were valued higher than, like, Ford at that point.
Yeah.
Not anymore. But anyway, it turned out he was making a weed joke. He wasn't serious. He was using the number 420 as a weed joke, and he was making it up. Now, this is securities fraud, because as a CEO of a company, you can't lie and pretend you have a buyout offer, because a bunch of people, that's You can't do that. It's securities fraud. The SEC agreed and sued him, and they came to a settlement agreement, which he has violated several times at this point, and they're now in court deciding whether or not it's going to get thrown out or rewritten or whatever. I'll keep you updated on that. Now, the Theranos thing, the Theranos comparison. I don't think there's a direct comparison in general, mostly because at the end of the day, Theranos never had their blood testing machine that ever worked.
Well, they they did send it to Arizona in a small market, and then ended up just using already available third-party blood processing equipment. Other than that,
but the thing is, Tesla actually does have electric cars.
Sure.
Now, the specific thing that I think
also is Theranos not publicly traded? I don't think they were.
They were public. Oh wait, no,
they
must have been private.
No, they were invested.
They were private, I think.
The investments are really bad, though. It's very akin to that as far as the investments versus the public trading and the fraud therein.
Either way, the comparison I would draw between Theranos and Tesla is with their self-driving claims. Now, this is an almost one-to-one comparison because Elon Musk, much like Elizabeth Holmes, has been making these claims about what Teslas can do or will be able to do for years. He said years ago that by 2017 we're going to be able to self-drive a Tesla from coast to coast with no human intervention. Which has never been substantiated. I still don't believe full self-driving exists, especially considering what we just saw at the Tesla investor meeting. If you watch Elon Musk, and I'd suggest if you're interested in this, go and watch that, or at least skip to the parts where Elon Musk is talking. The technical stuff is very interesting. I think self-driving cars will exist someday. The technology is not there. And Elon Musk is at this point claiming that they will be available by the end of the year. Driving cars that drive themselves with no human intervention to the point that they're saying we are going to remove the steering wheel from the car. This is like iRobot sci-fi shit. Don't get me wrong, I understand that they have their adaptive cruise control that they call full self-drive, but even that only works on the highway. There is zero chance this will work.
People.
Yeah. Not only that, in the investor meeting they even said, we haven't tackled snow yet. A lot of the country has that, Elon.
Pretty much most of it. Yeah.
So, I just feel at this point, and when asked questions, for instance, about liability, they're like, if the self-driving car crashes, who's liable? Is it the owner of the car? Is it Tesla? And Elon Musk paused for a second when the investor asked this, and went, Tesla? Like he didn't know. These liability concerns should have been addressed long ago if this is something that's going to be out next year. It really seems like at this point Elon Musk is constantly trying to pump the stock up, the price, artificially by making these claims about what is possible with the Tesla currently. He's making these grand vision claims without any actual product to back it up. That's how I feel about it. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. In the next 6 months to a year, I will either be proven right or wrong. It's either the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning for Tesla. I don't know which it is. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, and it'd be great if I was. I'd love if there were self-driving safe cars out there. That'd be amazing. But Elon has yet to demonstrate it at this point. So, I don't know. Oh, the stock...
I thought the Theranos documentary was pretty good.
The Tesla stock price. Let's see what it's at today.
Do we have to?
Yes.
Why?
Because it was trading at like 360 a couple months ago. Look at that. 235 today. Let's look at a chart for the past year. Not
looking good. Seems like it's lowest valley.
Yep, lowest since 2017 today. Good job, Elon. You're doing a great job. I think he's bad for the industry. He's going to hurt self-driving cars and electric cars in general when he tanks the company. Anyway, next question.
Try next time, Taco. Fricko no! Oh, my dearest Hugo. Just how happy are you that Tesla's sales are starting to crash and the company as a whole could come crashing down in the near future if they aren't careful? Do you think people will continue sucking Elon's dick? Or is this the beginning of people realizing he's not as great as he makes himself out to be?
You thought the Tesla talk was over, didn't you?
No, I didn't care. It's just you didn't answer number one at all. You didn't talk about Theranos or Elizabeth Holmes.
I said that they were...
You said that they existed. The question was about them, not Elon. This is about Elon. Talk away.
Okay, what did you want me to say about Elizabeth?
Nothing.
I find it interesting, and I find it to be a parallel between Elon Musk. It's pretty crazy.
That was it. How do you feel about Elon Musk dying right now? He's squandering. He's gulping for air in the rapids of the American market system.
It makes me sad for the company and the employees therein, but I'm glad that a narcissist like Elon is getting fact-checked finally by investors, because they just bought his bullshit for so long. And, by the way, like 40%... There's this thing called a margin call. He has these loans taken out against his shares of the company. Roughly 40% of his shares are leveraged on these loans. And what happens in a margin call is, if the shares drop below a certain amount,
you have to pay it back liquid, right?
No. What a margin call is, if it goes below a certain amount because the value of what you are putting up against the loan has dropped so much, the bank goes, we need that now. Give us the shares, or you can put up more shares as collateral sometimes. So I'm interested in what's going to happen there, because he is very personally vested in this company, which I think is making him make some very bad decisions, because he knows if it goes... Yeah. He's not making good long-term decisions, because he knows short-term he is personally fucked financially if he doesn't continually try and pump the stock up. But at this point, the market has become so desensitized to his bullshit, and it took so long, but now that it finally has, at this point, almost every time he's doing stuff like this, these events that kind of fall flat, the stock price is going down. People are going, oh my god, he looks so desperate. Because he is.
You know, this rings more true to the Fire Festival guy than...
It reminds me a lot of
Elizabeth
that, too.
Holmes, I think.
It seems like at this point he's just trying to keep the ball in the air.
Right, because she was just kind of like hiding stuff from investors and was trying to make this pretty unreasonable, like, barely a drop of blood for multiple testing.
See, I feel like level 5 self-driving, which is what he's claiming is going to be here by the end of the year.
It's like that, but I mean, I think his method, I think that's why they have, it goes Elon Musk and then the other two branch off and it connects, but I don't think these two connect very much.
Sure.
He's like Elizabeth in that way, and then the other, I forget his name at this point, Fire Festival guy, in the way he tries to fraud his way forward.
Yep.
It's pretty interesting to watch. I'm excited for the 2-part documentary called Elon.
I'm wondering, what will the title be?
Elon.
Yeah, it's got to be better than that. It's got to be
Future Man.
No, it'll be called Funding Secured, because that was his that was part of his 420 tweet. Funding Secured and that's a meme.
You think so?
Yeah.
Maybe. Anyway, SpaceX is still dope.
Whoever does
engineers there. I don't know if being linked to Elon is going to be very great for you in the long run. But I mean, they've actually I think that's by far way more impressive than the car thing. The self-landing shuttles
SpaceX at this point. For one thing, SpaceX is less impressive than people make it out to be. They're not the first person to land a rocket vertically.
No, I think Lockheed Martin was, right?
It was. I don't even remember what company did it, but it was a while ago. And the profitability of SpaceX right now is questionable.
Sure.
Not only that, but they've been trying to do this funding round for their Starlink program, which was their idea for low Earth orbit satellites to provide the internet to the whole world, which is again one of those Elon things that you can tell he made up when he was high at 3 a.m. And then it was like, engineers, I came up with an idea that's completely stupid. Will you do it? And they're like, I guess, you're my boss, I have to. And they weren't able to get almost any of the funding they wanted for that.
That would be so fickle for a long, long time. It would be very hard to make that work. Because you'd have to get it to be profitable pretty quickly.
Yep. And that's the program that's supposed to fund their Mars missions, which will never happen.
Yeah.
A private company will not go to Mars before, at least not any time in this century, I don't think. Not before a space agency. It's just too expensive and doesn't make a profit. It doesn't make sense for a private company.
Ripperino. From Twitter, Monkbot10, Dear Hugo, Too Dope, and Violet J. What do you think of the contrast between the youth and elderly in politics? Is the seeming dichotomy between AOC and Pelosi a sign of improvement?
I think so.
That's interesting. Pelosi's kind of a wackadoo sometimes.
It mostly seems to me that the difference between younger progressive people and older Democrat progressive people is that younger people aren't so willing to... here's the thing. The left for decades has been like, we're going to compromise with the right. But
Yeah, fuck 'em.
every single time the left goes to compromise with the right takes a step further right, and then the left continues to compromise, thus pushing the left further right. Younger people are kind of sick of that, I feel like, and people like AOC are taking the fight back and kind of being like, and you can disagree with any of the things she said, but at the very least, she's trying to state her opinion and saying, no, you are wrong. We've tried to compromise. You've made things nothing but worse. Now it's time for you to compromise. And I respect that a lot. So, if that's the direction politics is going, I'm in favor of it. I'm a progressive, so...
Yeah, that's how, that's very similar to how, Parliament works in the UK.
Yeah.
Where they pretty much take each other to task constantly.
Yeah.
Now, they have a much different voting system. You vote for a party, and then they have candidates, and depending on the amount of votes they get is how many of their candidates end up in the parliament and stuff like that. But, I don't know. They have 1 billion parties, however, like 7 major ones. But, I think what you're going to see is... And there's already sort of this thing, which is... It's almost like you have neoliberals.
Yeah.
And then you have liberals. And then you have progressives. And they all caucus together under the Democrat banner. And then every Republican is just, pretty much super far right now. Which is wild. Because, when we were kids, George Bush was far right for being, I'm anti-abortion. That was far right. I don't think George Bush is a white nationalist. And George W. Bush is one of our worst presidents in history. I think probably, he's been usurped recently. But, there's just this, I don't know, if you're a centrist, don't vote Republican, vote for libertarians or some shit, as long as they're not, if they're actually racist and shit. I can't believe it's actually happened. As far as I don't know, people like Lindsey Graham were always soulless cocks, but they've allowed themselves to be pulled by these again wackadoos. It's pretty sad. I think John McCain, even though I fucking hate him, was one of the last ones being like, "Hey guys, can we do conservative things and not fashy things?" I can't believe that the people in office right now made me go, John McCain's reasonable? Because I fucking hate John McCain.
Yeah.
I don't know. As far as the young people, though, I really like it. I like the representation that we have as far as women and people of color, because turns out those groups exist within the country and deserve representation if, in fact, we want to tax them. I totally agree with that.
That's part of the other questions I have here, actually.
Yeah, no. Okay, so we could talk about that a little bit, too. But, it turns out... And by the way, I don't think all conservatives are old white dudes. So, even if we have conservative women... And having a more equal spread, I think, is what we should push for. And I'm glad it's happening. It's not... Again, and this is just voting, so it's not affirmative action. It's not people getting put into places that they don't deserve, even though conservatives would like to argue that they are. You're seeing people being voted on grassroots progressive messages with a lot of, I don't know if full socialism is always what they run on, but definitely... social lattice work to make a social bedrock for people. This is a good thing, and I think as the old boomers die on out, we'll see a more progressive in general thing, especially because the left is pretty emboldened now. Last election was a really good sign. I was worried about it. I haven't seen the complacency that I was worried they would have after a midterm win, because we don't win midterms on the left. But we crushed this one.
Sure.
But there has been complacency. There might be in the future. But right now, I think we're in a good place politically. I think you're seeing another swing back to the left, which is very good. Because, if you're not a certain group of people, being conservative doesn't help you. So it's been very good for a lot of people recently. So we'll see how it goes. Also from the Twitter machine, Big Boy Solid. I'd love to know your thoughts on people perceive forced diversity on people's perception of forced diversity, I assume. And the line of logic that goes, there is no story reason for it. So this is forced diversity in regards to, like, media.
Yeah, this kind of ties into what you're saying.
And video games, though.
Sure. I think it usually comes down to, I find this kind of hilarious. Normally what I bring up to them is, diversity is not forced. Reality is divorced. Homogeneity is forced when it is, if your movie or whatever is all white dudes, it's not reflective of reality unless the story has to specifically do with white dudes for some reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I'd say, like, American Pie, for instance, they were upper-class white high school students. It made sense that was who they were hanging out with.
I guess,
But say, for instance,
when people get mad,
Black Panther, it also made sense that all those people were black.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know what I mean? Like, it just makes sense. It's fine.
And, like, when the quartering or something gets mad, like...
He does it for the money.
I know, when he gets...
Jeremy, you dumb!
Okay, when Coach Red Pill gets mad about Captain Marvel or whatever...
I think he believes it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, it makes as much sense for a woman to have super strength as a man. Yeah. No one has super strength or can fly. It's a movie.
Wait a second. Nobody does?
Not as far as I'm aware.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Elon Musk will invent an Iron Man suit that self-drives, though.
Take him to the bottom of the sea, Jarvis. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else to talk about forced diversity? It doesn't really exist.
No.
I haven't noticed it ever exist.
No.
A lot of people, I guess, real quick, just like if you bring up Ellen Ripley, you're part of the problem.
A movie from... Has it been 50 years almost?
1970?
40 years.
I don't know when it came out, but yeah. Anyway. Finn, dearest Hugo, what non-horror movie scared you as a child? For me, it was The Brave Little Toaster. That is a solid choice.
Yeah, that song at the end, Hopeless. I still have
man, when they're getting crushed by the fucking the recycling car cycle thing.
Yeah, that was horrifying.
Yeah.
It's existential dread for a child, and they don't even understand what it is. My choice is probably Return to Oz, though. I always remember... Have you seen Return to Oz? It was in the 80s they made it.
I've probably seen it as a kid.
Very strange movie. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's a really good sequel to The Wizard of Oz. Not made by the same studio or anything. I think Disney made Return to Oz. But it's got that really good 80s kids scary stuff. You know, in the 80s, I think it's coming back more now.
It kind of had like scary Muppets and shit.
Yeah, they had these characters called Wheelers. That they were these people who they were on basically stilts, and at the end of the stilts were skates, and they were on all fours, and they chased the kid. Really creepy stuff. It was great. There's a woman in it with no face that's really creepy if you're a little kid. Yeah, definitely Return to Oz.
I feel like that scared me. Never Ending Story 2. Terrible movie.
A spray can!
It scared the shit out of me as a kid. I had to get my grandma and my mom took me, and they had to take me out because I was like, fuck this. And I started screaming, I guess. I was very, very young. I think that came out in the very early 90s. So I'm barely a person, and apparently it scared the shit out of me. I watched that recently again. I think it's on Hulu or something.
He has the power to wish for anything. He wishes for
I hate those movies. By the way, the dad gets a glow the fuck up between 1 and 2. Do you remember the dad scene?
No.
The dad scene in number 1 is kind of famous. You don't remember it?
No.
So the dad scene in number 1 is a continuous shot, right? And I forget the kid's name. What's the kid's name?
Bastian?
Bastian? Yeah, Bastian. Bastian's sitting there. Of course, it's totally different actors between 1 and 2. But
and 3, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Bastian number 1 is sitting there, and he's like, my mom's dead, and he's looking at something. He's about to get ready for school, and he's like eating cereal or something. And his dad in the background he just starts talking. He's like, hey, you're gonna have to like, I know your mom's gone, and that sucks, but we're gonna have to start to live life again. Yeah. He has this conversation, and the whole time he's like making something, and you're like, what the fuck? And he takes the blender and he takes something like maybe milk or orange juice and dumps it in, and then takes 2 eggs and cracks them in, throws them away, and in a continuous shot, pours it after blending and drinks it. 1 continuous shot. That guy got no love. I guarantee he made did you get your SAG card if you have lines?
Yeah.
He got a SAG card and then no other roles ever again. Never seen him in anything. Oh man, it is It is a bad movie. That's not the part that scared me, though. It was the big monsters with the saws.
The scariest part of Neverending Story 3 is it almost smothered Jack Black's career in its crib. He's the bad guy in that. Go watch it.
Better Stefan Molyneux off Twitter. Hugo, do you think YouTube should be a worker-run co-op where all workers vote on decisions for the company? Something similar to @means TV structure. This is, I don't know if you know who Andrew is here. Andrew's a dirty, dirty socialist.
Okay. Not for like YouTube, because at the end of the, because YouTube isn't really an employment. You're a contractor. No. It's an opt-in system. You don't have to be hired. But I do think that structure is a good idea for like employment in corporate structures.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, shareholders for the most part are providing absolutely no value to society. They need to fuck off.
Yeah, I don't really see, like, I guess the argument is they invest in a company.
Okay, but
shares,
but that money could be
exactly.
in the company, and the employees could be making that
money.
I'm saying
and
they could be putting it back into the company.
There's capitalists in the. I know. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm paying lip service to it. Yeah, I'm for that structure and pretty much all. I don't know. I can't think of. I mean, private businesses where there's one owner and employees. I don't think you need it to be, but a corporate structure, yeah. Like a small, like the bakery over here. I don't think that lady needs to have her employees own equal shares, right? Mm-hmm. I think she could opt into that, but I think once you get to a certain point, it becomes ethical.
Yeah, once your corporation essentially becomes.
I don't know how many employees. Is that an employee threshold or a money threshold?
I would think employee threshold is normally how they do it. I don't know. If I were to create the system, at least that's how I would do it.
Like 100 employees per building or something.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, no, because then they'd end up...
Multiple buildings.
Multiple buildings.
Yeah, capitalists will find a way, but I don't know.
You gotta make sure it's in such a way that they can't fucking...
Right. I don't know. But, yeah, I think for anything that starts to be like a really... bigger than a small business, I don't know how you, again, quantify it. Probably money. Equal sharing should probably occur.
Sure.
Dr. Shav for Hugo. Hey guys, do you think the blandness of Biden will run over the rest of the Democrats now that he has announced his run? Also, do you think that do you think because of his creepiness he will lose to Trump? As a religious Republican, usually just ignore the grabbing issues of Trump. He would lose to Trump.
He would lose to Trump, but I don't think he'll get that far. No. I would imagine, even though...
We'll get into the primaries, maybe second debate.
Sure. Liberals and Democrats in general are certainly more open to policy-driven politicians than people on the right, but I also think this cycle, we are aware that whoever this is going to have to go up against Trump.
Bernie crushed it on Fox.
Yeah. As unfortunate as it is, you're going to need someone who can do sound bites, who can brevity, who can get little things and jab. And I know that's bad, and I hate that shit, but at the end of the day, you gotta pack for the trip you're going on, not the trip you want to go on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I think,
I wish
I don't like Beto. I don't like Kamala. She's a cop. I don't like, what is that? Buttigieg? Paul.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know how to pronounce it.
Mayor Buttigieg. He is openly gay, but he has terrible policies. So while get one for social causes, but not this one. Get a better gay next time, LGBT community. Paul is not your guy. Who else am I thinking of? I said Kamala. I think Elizabeth Warren and Bernie are probably the front runners. I mean, polling shows that right now. I don't like Elizabeth Warren a ton. She seems a little. Okay. So she did the when AOC was running and about to be put into office. She was doing those. She may still do them, but I don't know. I didn't watch any of them, but she was doing those like Facebook Live or not Skype, but Periscopes. Where she was like in her kitchen eating mac and cheese and like talking to people about policy. It seemed very natural because she's young and she knows how the media works and she knows how to talk to people and she's probably watched streams in the past.
Yeah.
Whereas Elizabeth Warren did the same thing and it seemed very like
fake.
Well, it seemed like it would be real if the camera wasn't on. Does that make sense? So, like,
Yeah.
she would be drinking a beer with her husband if the camera wasn't on, but instead she had to be like, oh, grab me a beer, honey.
Yeah.
When that would happen anyway, so she doesn't know how to play to that form of media. Yeah, and so she comes across as more fake than she would.
Because she's trying to fake sincerity in that medium.
When she would otherwise be sincere.
Yeah,
I don't know. And so it came across as very... It didn't come across as like she was lying. It came across as she was trying. In a way that wasn't good. Because usually effort's totally warranted. But I think Bernie's probably... I wish he was a little bit younger, but, I mean, he's only a little bit older than Trump, so fuck it.
I think pretty much all the politicians in this country are too fucking old.
Oh, yeah. I think this is...
Half of the people in Congress don't even know how to read their own goddamn email.
Is there an age... Hold on. Is there an age limit to running mate? Is there an age limit?
I'd imagine it's the same for president.
I would assume so, but I don't know that that's actually written down.
I'd imagine it is, because once they take the office, they have to essentially be a stand-in. They're there in case the president has a heart attack or whatever.
Yeah, it is.
Or gets Kennedy.
Senator must be 30. There's no limit on... I think you just have to be an adult to be a representative. Yeah, so that's interesting. Let me just look up just as we go over Democrat candidates 2020. Let's see who we got. Oh, Cory Booker's probably going to be up there. I don't like him as much. He's very neo-lib and he's kind of Obama too.
I was going to say
without all as many good, but he has changed some stuff.
The one thing about Cory Booker is that I feel like at some point Trump would fuck up and accidentally call him Obama.
Yeah.
And people would be...
maybe
multiple times, because I feel like Trump is the kind of old person who thinks anyone who's not white is kind of similar and confuses them.
So you have Joe Biden, Cory Booker, Paul Buttigieg. I forget the first name. I'm only getting last names on here. Castro, who I think ran last time and didn't get anywhere. Delaney, who isn't anybody. Oh, Tulsi Gabbard, who I don't really care for. Again, very neo-lib. Kristen Gillibrand, same thing. Kamala Harris, same thing. John Hickenlooper, something Inslee. Amy Klobuchar, no. Something Messam. Moulton, Beto O'Rourke, no. Someone Ryan Sanders. Swalwell, Elizabeth Warren Williamson, and Andrew Yang. I think Andrew Yang... Okay, so he's running on UBI, but some people brought up... And I like the idea of UBI, for the record. It was $1,000 to every single person over 18 in every household. Up to... I think you had to make under a certain amount for your household, but whatever. And I think that you get the allowance until you hit that threshold as well, which is also very good. It's a stimulus for everybody. It was pick between that or your benefits. And I don't really care for that. I think you should still get like Medicaid or $1,000. But it's for each person in the household, so they can choose. So if you have multiple kids, that could be good, or 18. I don't know. This helps certain individuals and doesn't. What I'm hoping is that the conversation, because he's gotten enough votes and enough backing to be in one of the debates. I'm hoping that UBI thing gets him pushed up just a little bit so he can make it to the second debate where you have the front runners.
So at least it's a concept that is being
UBI
discussed.
is being discussed in the country. I can't imagine Andrew Yang wins. He seems like a nice enough guy, but he doesn't seem... He's a billionaire, and I hate it. He's younger than pretty much everybody else. He's got some good policy otherwise, legalize weed, healthcare, etc. All these things are pretty good, but I'd like UBI to be discussed because we need to start talking about this.
We need to start talking about... The Democrats will lose if they just try and be like, Trump bad. And don't get me wrong, Trump is bad.
By the way,
but you need to be like, here's what we are going to do positively.
By the way,
here is the things we are going to try and accomplish.
This is why Bernie is the guy right now. He went on Fox, and Fox News viewership pulled him overwhelmingly positive.
That's good.
I mean, that's who you're fighting against, are Fox News viewers. I mean, really, that's it.
Yep.
And so if you can sway Fox News viewers and have Bernie go up there and be like, no, here's how it's going to go. I'm going to help the coal miners. Here's how it's going to... And he did last time. He just had, Hillary in the way. I think especially if it's like a Bernie Warren ticket, oh man, that's a good fucking ticket. Wasn't he her running mate last time? Or she her running mate? Who was his running mate? Did he have one?
I don't think he had
Did
one.
he even...
He didn't make it that far. You don't get a running mate until later.
Don't you?
No.
Because he was... I don't know how that works.
You get a running mate after you already win the primary.
Do you have to win the primary?
I mean, I guess you don't have to, but people don't announce until then because it doesn't make sense to.
Because I feel like... Am I crazy?
Yes.
Yeah, I must be crazy. Anyway, yeah, I think he did a really good job, and God, I want to see a debate between Bernie and Donald Trump.
It would be fucking... Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what I want to see so bad. Ugh. Because he's very happy to pan somebody.
Yeah.
And Hillary is like pretty weak sauce at that.
Yeah.
And it was pretty annoying. So, yeah.
All right. So, that's this episode.
That's Ask Hugo. You have asked, and Hugo has answered.
You can ask more questions either in the comments of this video. You can ask at the link in our Discord. We have a specific channel just for Ask Hugo and Jake. You can always tweet at me, although I tend to only look at the ones because of how Twitter works and the timelines. I ask people when we're about to record for these, so maybe just keep an eye out for that. Those certainly are chopsticks.
I could catch a fly out of the air.
You always follow us on Twitter at PapaBirdJake. Hugo Reloaded. Here's the P.O. box to send us stuff. You can, that's just making noise. You can always donate to our Patreon campaign. Until next time, I'm Hugo. That's Daniel's son. And this has been Hugo and Jake.
I stole extra from the Chinese lady. Wow, that sounds like a Chinese lady was walking down the road.
And you were like, those fucking chopsticks.
She sold me food at her restaurant and I took them!